Have you ever felt a sudden, unexplained shift in the air? A moment when it seems the entire world is holding its breath, united by a single powerful feeling. We often dismiss these sensations as mere imagination or poetic fancy. But what if they were more? What if our collective thoughts, our shared joys and sorrows could somehow imprint themselves upon the physical world? This is not a question from a science fiction story, but the central inquiry of a real, long-running scientific experiment. It challenges our understanding of consciousness itself, pushing the boundaries of what we believe is possible and asking whether our minds are truly isolated islands or part of a vast, interconnected ocean of awareness that spans the entire globe. This ambitious endeavor is known as the Global Consciousness Project, or GCP. It was started in 1998 by Dr. Roger D. Nelson, a researcher who had spent decades at the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab, or PEAR. At PEAR, scientists studied the subtle ways human intention might influence sensitive electronic devices. The Global Consciousness Project was a natural and much grander extension of this work. Instead of focusing on one person in a laboratory, Dr. Nelson and an international team of collaborators set out to see if the focused attention of millions or even billions of people could create a detectable effect on a global scale. The project sought to build a bridge between the intangible realm of human thought and the measurable world of data. The core idea is both simple and profound: to listen for the heartbeat of humanity. The project's team wondered if moments of immense global significance, events that captivate the world's attention and stir a powerful, unified emotional response, could cause a ripple in the very fabric of reality. Could a shared experience of tragedy, celebration, or intense focus cause the physical world to behave in a less random, more orderly way? It's a hypothesis that sits uncomfortably on the line between established science and what many would call the paranormal. Yet, for over 2 decades, the project has quietly collected data, searching for patterns that might hint at a deeper connection we have yet to fully comprehend. To test this fascinating question, the project built a unique kind of listening device. It wasn't a microphone designed to capture sound, but a network of machines designed to capture randomness. Spread across continents, from bustling cities to quiet, remote laboratories, these devices were tasked with a single, continuous mission: to generate random numbers, day in and day out, without pause. The theory was that if our collective consciousness could indeed influence the physical world, then this global network of random data streams might be the perfect instrument to detect its faint, elusive signal. It was a bold attempt to find order in the chaos, driven by one of the most compelling questions of our time. Are we alone in our heads? The instruments at the heart of the Global Consciousness Project are called random number generators, or RNGs. In the context of the project, they are often affectionately nicknamed eggs. These are not computer programs running an algorithm, which can only ever be pseudo-random. Instead, they are sophisticated hardware devices that rely on unpredictable physical processes like the quantum tunneling of electrons to produce truly random sequences of ones and zeros. Think of it as a perfect digital coin flip happening hundreds of times every second. The project established a network of these eggs in approximately 70 locations around the world, all synchronized and continuously sending their data to a central server in Princeton, New Jersey. This constant stream of random data forms a baseline, a steady, predictable hum of digital noise. Under normal circumstances, the combined output from all the eggs should be completely random. There should be no discernible patterns, no spikes and no dips. The project's hypothesis, however, suggests that this baseline of randomness might be disturbed during moments of global significance. When millions of people share a single focus or a powerful emotion, the theory goes, their synchronized consciousness might exert a subtle ordering effect on these sensitive devices. The perfectly random digital coin flips might suddenly become just a tiny bit less random, leaning slightly toward heads or tails in a way that defies statistical probability. The method for detecting these potential anomalies is rigorous and predefined. When a major global event is identified, such as a natural disaster, a terrorist attack, a royal funeral, or even a worldwide meditation event, the researchers formally register it. They specify a precise time window for the event, often starting a few hours before and ending a few hours after. Only then do they look at the data collected by the network of eggs during that exact period. They are searching for a statistically significant deviation from the expected randomness. A single egg showing a strange pattern would mean nothing. But if eggs all over the world show a similar faint deviation at the same time, it becomes much harder to dismiss as mere chance. Over its lifespan, the project has analysed hundreds of such events. Some of the most cited examples are those that evoked a powerful and widespread emotional response across the planet. One of the earliest events studied was the funeral of Princess Diana in 1997, where data from a precursor network of 12 RNGs seemed to show a significant departure from randomness as millions mourned. Another key event was the catastrophic Indian Ocean tsunami on December 26, 2004, which also appeared to correlate with a notable spike in order within the data. These moments, when the world's attention was collectively fixed on a single emotionally charged story, are precisely the kinds of events the project was designed to investigate. Perhaps the most famous and widely discussed event in the Global Consciousness Project's history is the series of terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. On that day, as the world watched in horror, the project's network of random number generators produced one of the most dramatic deviations from chance ever recorded. The data seemed to show a significant shift away from randomness, not just during the attacks themselves, but beginning shortly before the first plane struck the World Trade Center. The spike in order continued for hours, coinciding with the period of intense global shock, grief, and focused attention. For supporters of the project, this was a powerful and chilling piece of evidence. Proponents of the GCP interpret these findings as potential proof of a global consciousness, a non-local field of awareness created by the linked minds of humanity. They suggest that consciousness is not strictly confined to our brains, but can extend outward and interact with the physical world in subtle ways. In this view, when a massive number of minds focus on the same thing, they create a coherent consciousness field, powerful enough to influence the delicate quantum processes inside the RNGs. The project's data, with its cumulative odds against chance reaching trillions to one across all formal events, is presented as strong evidence that something real is happening, even if we don't yet have a theory to explain it. This idea resonates with older philosophical and psychological concepts, most notably Carl Jung's theory of the collective unconscious. Jung proposed that beneath our individual consciousness lies a deeper layer shared by all of humanity, a repository of ancestral memories, instincts, and universal symbols he called archetypes. While Jung's concept was psychological, the GCP provides a modern, data-driven exploration of a similar idea. Could this project be measuring the faint, physical manifestation of this collective human psyche as it reacts to momentous events? For supporters, the answer is a tantalizing yes, suggesting a fundamental interconnectedness that science is only just beginning to explore. The implications, if the project's interpretation is correct, are truly staggering. It would mean that our thoughts are not private, isolated phenomena, but are part of a larger dynamic system. It suggests that our collective emotional states can create real physical effects that ripple across the globe. Some have even drawn parallels to the Force from Star Wars, a metaphysical energy field created by all living things that binds the galaxy together. While this is a pop culture analogy, it captures the essence of what the GCP's supporters believe they are observing: a great disturbance in the field of global consciousness, detected not by mystics, but by a network of silent, unassuming machines. Despite the compelling narratives and staggering statistical odds, the Global Consciousness Project has faced significant criticism from the mainstream scientific community. Skeptics argue that the apparent correlations are not evidence of a mysterious global mind, but rather the result of statistical fallacies and cognitive biases. One of the primary criticisms is the charge of data dredging or pattern matching. Critics suggest that with a continuous stream of random data, it is inevitable that some strange-looking patterns will emerge. If you look hard enough at enough data, you are bound to find apparent correlations with real-world events simply by chance. The human brain is wired to find meaning in randomness, and this project, they argue, is a high-tech example of that tendency. Furthermore, the methodology of the project has been called into question. While the GCP team insists on pre-registering events, critics point out that the choice of which events to analyze and the precise time windows to use can introduce selection bias. For example, independent analyses of the 9/11 data by other scientists failed to find the same significant effect reported by the project, suggesting that the results might depend heavily on the specific analytical choices made. Scientist Robert Matthews famously summarized this critique by stating that data without a theory is as meaningless as words without a narrative. Without a plausible physical mechanism to explain how consciousness could influence RNGs, the data remains a collection of statistical anomalies, not scientific proof. Even Dr. Nelson himself has conceded that the data is not yet solid enough to definitively prove the existence of a global consciousness. He has admitted that you cannot simply look at the data stream and predict what major event the eggs might be responding to. The effect, if it exists at all, is incredibly faint and can only be seen through statistical analysis after the fact. This lack of predictive power is a major hurdle for its acceptance as a true scientific phenomenon. Science demands testable hypotheses that can make falsifiable predictions, a standard that the GCP has struggled to meet, leaving it in a grey area between rigorous research and what many consider to be pseudoscience. Ultimately, the Global Consciousness Project leaves us standing at a crossroads of belief and skepticism. It beckons us to consider the profound possibility that we are more connected than we know, that our minds might participate in a silent global conversation. Is it possible that the data reflects a genuine, undiscovered aspect of reality? Or is it a grand illusion born from our deep-seated desire to find meaning and connection in a random universe? The project may not have provided the definitive answer, but it has certainly given us a fascinating and enduring question to ponder. Could the boundary between our inner world of thought and the outer world of matter be more permeable than we ever imagined?